Well, welcome to the 10 a.m. Collider coffee break, where we just want to chat about what we've been up to for the week and let you know some of the things that we've been doing. So thanks for joining us. A reminder to everybody that Collider is a Rochester-based 501c3 nonprofit that supports Rochester entrepreneurs through storytelling, space, events, and education. So thanks for joining us today on your Friday for a few minutes. So I'll turn it over to Jamie to keep you up to date on what he's been doing this week.
Thanks, Amanda. We had a lot of great events this week. Our own Inspirational Collisions series with Anthony and Ahmed was fantastic. Fuse Financial Planning did a great overview with One Discovery Square, and the We Forum, which is always an amazing opportunity for interactions among women entrepreneurs, and it's just a vital thing in our community. So, there's a lot going on, and we encourage you to keep checking out and contributing to the amazing things that are happening. Recently here in Collider, we've also been thinking a lot about virtual events and content. So we have some big announcements around that today. So first and foremost, we want to announce a new podcast that I'll be hosting called Ecosystem North. It'll be a video hosted on YouTube, as well as an audio podcast that you'll be able to download on your favorite podcatcher. And really what we want to do with Ecosystem North is really highlight the people that maybe we don't talk enough about, and that's the ecosystem builders. These are the people that are surrounding and supporting entrepreneurs and helping our entrepreneurs thrive. So we're going to take this big. We're going to interview ecosystem builders across the state of Minnesota to really find out a little bit more about their stories, as well as what inspires and drives these individuals to keep supporting entrepreneurs in Minnesota. So look for that very soon. I think we're going to do the first podcast next week, and it should be out very soon after that. As I alluded to in the last week in the coffee break video, we were waiting with many others to see what direction we were headed towards as far as are we moving toward a fully open status for our community. And now it appears that that's not going to be a reality. So we want to keep serving and helping our entrepreneurial ecosystem, which is really our core mission here at Collider. So today we're announcing our virtual ecosystem platform. We want to keep fueling our ecosystem irregardless if we're in person or we only see each other on screens. So we're creating some great events and education completely online to serve our community. We want this to serve as, again, a platform to provide technical assistance to entrepreneurs as well as support. So a couple of ideas that we're thinking around or topics we're thinking around is meetups and peer groups. We want to have the ability for anyone to sort of create a meetup or peer group as long as it revolves around business or entrepreneurship. And the first one we're going to announce is we're relaunching the Rochester Open Coffee Tech Meetup. This tech meetup was really, in many ways, the genesis of Collider Co-working, where I met a great group of individuals who really felt passionate about entrepreneurs, about working together and the power of community. I learned so much for that group, and I want to relaunch that again. So look forward to the Rochester Open Coffee Tech Meetup happening virtually very, very soon. Many of you know we're also doing a lot of education online, such as our Basics of Entrepreneurship class. But we want to do a lot more. And they can range from in-depth classes to specific one-off information sessions. So we're looking at doing that as well. And then continuing with events. We want to bring you more amazing speakers, great network opportunities, and so much more. And best of all, we want to empower you. We want to create this platform not just for us at Collider, but for you to create content and give back to our community. So we want to provide this platform for anyone in our community that has access to our entrepreneurial ecosystem. And we'll be reaching out to many of you in the coming weeks to sort of brainstorm with you and think about how you could create content to utilize this platform to really get a message out of how you can support your entrepreneurial ecosystem. So start thinking about passions you have, talents you have, and how you could leverage that into something online to help our entrepreneurial ecosystem. And as always, we're looking for a way to make this sustainable, right? We want to make sure we can keep delivering this content. So if anyone listening to this is potentially in the position to sponsor our online content, we would love to have a conversation with you here at Collider, so we can move forward together no matter what happens in our community. So with that, I'll hand it back to you, Amanda.
Thanks. I wanted to first update everyone on our class that we're doing. We're hosting or facilitating a Basics of Entrepreneurship class. It was it's an 8-week pilot program. I guess we're officially starting in week 3 now. So this was a free program, really to take people from an idea stage to really deeply understand who their customer was, to make sure they're building things in a customer-focused manner. This week, the participants talked about market segmentation, and we had Hunter Downs as our guest. And this week, they'll be working on identifying their beachhead market or target market. For those more familiar with that term, not as familiar with beachhead market. But that's what everyone will be working on this week. Or thinking about and learning about more. But as we know, entrepreneurship's not kind of a linear path, and it's not for the people participating in this program either. So I think this is a nice way to allow people to kind of work at their own pace, but they're still being exposed to material to make kind of that pathway easier and help them think about their business in a way to really target what they're doing to the end users, to their customers, to increase their chances of building a sustainable business. So we're excited to keep this moving forward as we enter week 3 with our virtual participants in this course. I also wanted to talk about our Ecosystem Navigator program briefly. So for those of you not as familiar with this program, our Ecosystem Navigator program, the goal with it is to basically empower and activate 3 individuals in this community to work and serve entrepreneurial populations that are typically systemically excluded from the community. This can include minority entrepreneurs as well as female entrepreneurs. So our goal with these navigators is that they would have some of their time supplemented by Collider to go out into these communities, meet with entrepreneurs, aspiring entrepreneurs already on their path, really understand where these entrepreneurs are in their journey, both as an individual and as a business, listen to what the entrepreneur needs and be able to rapidly connect them in to the resource that they're needing at that point for their business. So they're not business consultants. They're more connectors, navigators, helping people understand what's available for them in the community and helping them to access that resource. So we will be, or we're actively in the search for our 3 navigators now, and they'll be kind of fully activated by September this year. I'm very excited that we're in the process of scheduling our first advisory board meeting for this grant with some, I think, very insightful and experienced individuals in this community. We'll update you more on that at a later date, but I'm really excited to get their input for this program and have them help guide and give feedback to where the Ecosystem Navigator program is going in Rochester. And this program is specifically for Rochester. The Ecosystem Navigator program is funded through the Ewing Marion Kauffman Foundation, which is a nonprofit organization located in Kansas City, Missouri. We spoke with our program officer this week, which we get to do periodically throughout this process, and we shared with her this. I didn't think it was quite as extensive, but in her, from feedback from her, a very extensive report about the state of the entrepreneurial community here in Rochester. We talked about it before on these coffee breaks, but from about November till March, we met individually one-on-one with 100 entrepreneurs and entrepreneurial service organizations in Rochester, specifically focused on those underrepresented people and minority entrepreneurs, minority ESOs, and those serving minority populations and women. listen to where they felt the state of the ecosystem, entrepreneurial ecosystem in Rochester was, what they thought gaps were, what they thought assets were. And we were using that to validate our Ecosystem Navigator program, as well as to uncover gaps that the community could work together to co-create solutions to, as well as assets in the community that more resources could be put behind to really accelerate those assets. One of the top assets mentioned in the community were community connectors or ecosystem navigators, so that was really supportive of what we are doing. But when we talked with the Ewing Marion Kauffman Foundation, they were really impressed with what we had done and said it was one of the most extensive and insightful things that they've seen in communities. So that was really great to hear. It was a lot of hard work, a lot of emotional effort tied up in that. And we greatly appreciate the time everyone took to sit down, share their story with us. I know that's not always easy, and to put the trust in us to treat that information well. So right now we're in the process of sharing our report with other entrepreneurial service organizations in Rochester over the next few weeks, and then we'll also communicate this to the public in some form. So stay tuned for that over the next couple of weeks here. And lastly, I wanted to share what we talked about on Rochester Rising this week. So we got to hear from our contributing writer, Natalie Slagle, earlier this week, sharing an update from Collider member Sherpa. Sherpa has recently formed a partnership with KTTC to share their updates, Sherpa's updates on things to do in the community. So you can check out Sherpa every Thursday on KTTC. This is really exciting for a Collider member, for a startup that was grown in Collider, to see Sherpa accelerating on their journey. So we're really proud of Chris and Andy and the team that they've formed around them. So congratulations. On the podcast this week, we aired episode 184, talking with Acer. Acer is a St. Paul-based nonprofit that supports the Latino population here in Minnesota. And we have talked about them before on Rochester Rising and Acer and ACLA's program in Rochester for Latino entrepreneurs called Creando Ando. So if you're not as familiar with that program, you can search for it on our website and you'll see lots of information about Creando Ando. But on the program this week, we switched gears and talked a little bit more about COVID-19, how that's disproportionately affecting the Latino population, and specific resources for Latino businesses in Minnesota. So check it out. This time we talked with Rodolfo, the executive director, and Ana, the communication specialist at Acer. So it was a really great podcast. It was also half in Spanish, but if you don't speak Spanish, it's in English as well, so everyone can kind of listen in and take something away from that conversation. And as Jamie mentioned, yesterday, Thursday, July 16th, we hosted our second Inspirational Collisions event with Ahmed and Anthony, who are also Collider members, but have a great story to share with Quizem, an app for students to provide educational support to students remotely through a mobile application, and they're developing a web-based application for Quizem. But also in this conversation, they really talked a lot about community and the value of community. So check it out. It did air yesterday, Thursday, July 16th, but you can find it on both the Collider and Rochester Rising Facebook feeds, as well as our YouTube feed for both Rochester Rising and Collider. And it will also come out as a podcast on Rochester Rising over the next few weeks. So you have multiple places to listen in and hear their journeys, how they've navigated the ecosystem in Rochester, and some very tangible takeaways that you can apply to your journey as well. So check that out on our website at rochesterrising.org. And with everything that we do, if you find value in what we're doing, subscribe to our YouTube channels, follow us on Facebook, sign up for our weekly newsletter, share it with a friend. That's the best way you can help us. And it's so easy. It only takes you 10 seconds to subscribe to something or forward something onto a friend. And that is the best way you can help us here at Collider. So with that, I'll turn it back over to Jamie for any final thoughts.
I have no final thoughts this week. I was trying to think of something exciting and inspirational, and really, I think it's just good to be back. It's good to see great content. It's good to see uh, businesses thriving, right? So you think about these startups in Quizm and Sherpa and many, many others. They're finding their path in this chaotic world that we're in now. And I think that's what good entrepreneurs do. They find a way no matter what. And I'm really, really impressed by a lot of our local early stage businesses and startups who are continuing to move forward in what they're doing. So hats off to them, and hope to see it continue here in the future.
Awesome. So thanks for tuning in today. Just a reminder, if you're watching us on YouTube, take 5 seconds and subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you're watching this on Facebook, take 5 seconds and follow us, like it, share it, and we'll see you next week.
Take care, everyone.